right, Front Row Sports is on with Mr. Cub Swanson, making his, everyone's making their UFC debut here in Fresno. And before we get into the fight, talk to us about UFC choosing Fresno as opposed to other sites. You know, why do you think UFC tapped into the Fresno market?
Well, I think anywhere they travel and they go to a place that they haven't been before, and it's not like this is a major city, but it's a well-known town. And I think the fans, the really hungry fans, get excited.
Right.
And if they go to the same place over and over, sometimes they'll go, oh, I don't want to go to that card, I'll go to the next one. But I think there's going to be so many fans that are like, maybe this is their first and only opportunity to catch a UFC fight. And I'm proud to headline that. You know, I come from nothing, you know, and I think there'll be a lot of fans in the stands that would have never thought they'd even get to go to an event. So right. Me headlining an event like that, where I get to, you know, be the first time that fans ever get to go to a live event, feel the energy, it gets me excited.
Yeah, and you talk about it. There's a lot of, you know, UFC, MMA, just a lot of good, you know, fans here in the whole valley. You know, it's not just Fresno, but the whole valley. There's a lot of fighters. Obviously, Perez fighting out of Lemoore. He's a hometown kid. What do you expect December 9th as we go into your opponent, Ortega? Obviously, you're a little bit older. You're the veteran of the two fighters, but do you think that'll impact you in any way, or is it just you're fighting the type of way you can fight?
No, it's just when I fight, I block everything out, and I'm just so focused on my opponent. I know that there's so many distractions that can happen. Like I remember one fight in particular, I was about to walk out, and I saw my sister hanging over the stands and trying to get a picture of me walking out, and it just made me, you know, just be happy about my family, but I wasn't in that mindset of kicking someone's butt. You know? So I had to refocus, and I learned from that. And I know that you can be distracted so easily because it's an emotional roller coaster. You know, the fight game. It's ups and downs. It's just all kinds of crazy. So the more that you can focus on one thing, the better. So my mind will be 100% focused on Brian Ortega and getting the win. And then afterwards, I'll be soaking it in and celebrating and being proud of fighting in front of the Fresno crowd.
Yeah, now you won your 10 out of your last 12 bouts, 4 in a row. Now, but you did lose to Holloway and Edgar, but those were a few years back. But if you can get the opportunity to fight for that title, whether it be Holloway or Edgar, how different would it be this time around than when you fought him the first couple times?
A lot different. I mean, I learned so much from those fights. They were painful. Those 2 losses were painful. I really thought that I was going to get the title fight. I didn't. I was forced to take those fights. Both fights, I learned completely different things from them. And at least I only lost to the very best,
Right.
And that gives me a lot of confidence too, that they were minor mistakes and minor adjustments. And I've only gotten better and better. So I want to fight the best. I want to fight those guys again. I want to show like I'm not just beating other guys. I'm getting so much better, and I want to test myself. I want those fights back.
Now, how important will be this fight be December 9th to get you to where you want to be maybe next year down the line?
It's just another chance for me to showcase my skills, to kind of, just like my last fight, I get to show up, I get to be the main event. I have to do all main event duties, which is an extra pressure of, extra media and a longer fight being 5 rounds. All these extra things that come along with it that people don't really get to see, but without the pressure of fighting for the title. So it's a lot of pressure, but not that extra little bit. So to me, I see it as a learning experience once again, having another tough up-and-comer, and I get to perfect this preparation before I get to fight for the title.
Do you think that'll be in your favor, knowing that you've been through this before, you've been a headliner, and you've been in the UFC a lot longer than Ortega? You think that'll be a factor going in, maybe a little bit?
Yeah, I think the way I go into it is thinking that he's going to be the best version I've ever seen. I watch footage on him. I have to imagine that he's going to be better. I'm going to
Yeah.
be training for that guy, the guy that's better than anything I've seen. And in the very back of my head, I'll have comfort knowing that I've been doing this longer. I've been in the bigger stages.
Yeah.
I've been in the tough spots, the big ones. I've done it all. The extra media, the things that can happen during fight camp, the things that can happen during fight week, the unexplained things, the things that pop up that can throw you off your game. I've done all that. So in the very back of my mind, that I get comfort in knowing that I'm the more experienced fighter.
So if everything goes well, December 9th here in Fresno, how soon would you want to start looking at potentially your next fighter? Because in December also, I think a week before you guys fight, pretty much all the top 4 guys are going at it. So
Yeah.
how important is whoever wins, or you just don't care who wins as long as you're in that mix?
Well, I think with, I think a lot of people thought me and Aldo were going to fight, or even me and Lamas, and now those two are fighting. So I think for me to stay ahead of that, I got to come out and I got to put on a performance, and I got to win in a dominant fashion.
Okay.
I expect him to show up, and I expect it to be a hell of a fight, but I feel like it would be in my best interest to go out there and get a knockout or get a submission or have just a really dominant win. That would be in my best interest, but I am expecting a war.
So anything else before we let you go? I know this is your first time being out here in a while to Fresno. What can we expect as fans from you and Brian, and just more for yourself, knowing that this will be your back-to-back headliners?
Well, I think just for the fans in general, just know that as the fights go on all night, it's just going to get more intense, more intense, and more intense. And when me and Brian walk out, trust me, we're two hard-headed dudes from California about to throw down and put on a hell of an experience for the people that are watching it for their first time and everybody else. And you're not going to want to miss this. I guarantee you that me and him are going to put on a hell of a fight and make it worth your money.
Awesome. Thank you.